just want to take this time to thank the family for the opportunity just to share a word of encouragement. It is always a privilege and an honor to stand before, I like to say, family, just to share on how good God is. Amen. The memories that I want to just really touch on first is when I had an experience to share the summer at a teen camp with Jimbo. And for those of you who don't know, the position that Jimbo held at the camp was a counselor. And for a lot of people that just start camp, they normally have to go through a couple of years of training and processing. But there was something unique about Jimbo that the director saw and immediately put him into a position where he was able to help young people develop not only a sense of independency, but also develop a relationship with Jesus Christ. And as I watched this young man work with these young people, I saw a lot of things that really encouraged me. The first thing I saw, that the way that Jimbo serves is very selfless. He was somebody that took the time to actually look the kids in the eyes. You get a lot of counselors that would just kind of talk to the kids, but almost talk above them. And the blessing of it was that my own sons were able to spend a whole week as he was a counselor under them. When they came back, they were just totally different kids. And there's a sense of passion and service that Jimbo has that I haven't seen in a lot of young people at his age. He's a man of character and integrity. And the thing about it was this, is right after that camp, they actually offered Jimbo the camp directory job. And this is a conference paid job. And here's a young man who hasn't even finished college yet, and these guys saw something in him that they want to utilize. And as a couple years went by, we would see each other on campus, and we would constantly just, encourage one another, because for myself, I'm a high school dropout, and to go to a university, it was quite challenging. But to see young people like Jimbo and other Polynesian young men and women to try to achieve a higher education, it was an inspiration for myself. Because you have to understand that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that a lot of our parents and our grandparents moved here to the States specifically for one reason, and that's for a better life and a better living. As everybody knows, back at home, life is pretty simple. You can eat off the land, days go by, you could do what you want, but when you come to America, it's like a whole nother ball game. And I want to thank, Jimbo's parents and his grandparents and his family for moving out here and struggling so that their kids can have a better life and also set the tone for the next generation. In my generation, a lot of people dropped out of high school. It wasn't just me. We had a good group of us who just didn't try to achieve anything in high school. And the more people that I see graduate, the more young Samoans and Polynesians I see graduate today, even at a high school or a college, it makes it a lot more easier for the next generation to take advantage of that. Would you say amen? The other week I did a graduation commencement, and one of the quotes that I got out of it was a really good quote, and it was this: we may not know what the future holds, but we know who holds the future. And what I want to share with you today is the emphasis isn't on the what you know, but the who you know. And Jimbo and anybody else here, when you transition from academics, when you're in transition of location, when you're in transition from one job to another job, transition in family life to new kids or to whatever the case may be, relationships, when you transition, let me tell you something, the most important thing to determine the outcome isn't so much what you know, although it's important, it's who you know. And it's the who you know that I want to emphasize today. I want to emphasize that the greatest reward through this academic journey, Jimbo, isn't just your diploma and that financial gain that you will achieve after getting this degree. But one of the best and the greatest things that you gain from this is the relationships and the community that was built while you struggled through this process. Would you say amen? Because let me tell you something, as we all sit here and eat, it's a great thing, but let me tell you, it's even better to eat at the table with people who starve with you. Would you say amen? And when people struggle with you, they know the passion that they believed in you, they pushed you, they fasted, and they prayed with you. So I love that saying. It says, when one graduates, guess what? We all graduate. Would you say amen? Amen. So when one becomes a doctor in our community, we all become a doctor. When one becomes a minister in our community, we all become a minister of the gospel. When one graduates, family, we all graduate. It says that it takes a village to raise a child, and today is just a product of that saying. I want you to know that I want to share with you just 3 simple words before I end. And it's basically, these 3 words is this: up, in, and out. Up, in, and out. John 15, verse 5. If you go through the book of John, the Gospel of John, chapter 15, there's an emphasis on this word that says, remain in me. It repeats it about 8 to 9 times just in that one chapter. And it says, I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever remains in me, the other word, the other translation is abide. Whoever remains or abides in me will bear much fruit. But then it says this, but apart from me, you can do nothing. The who is God. And the word of encouragement is basically this, is stay connected. As you move on, a lot of us get arrogant the more letters we get behind our names. But the more that you stay connected to the source, the more humble you will be to serve. It is important that we know the who, the up process. And let me tell you something, I meet a lot of people who are really good at the up, that they don't like the people on the outs. Would you say amen? So don't get so arrogant when you're up there that you forget about the people who were down there when you first started. Would you say amen? Let me tell you something. God has put me in some places that has me scratching my head and wondering, how in the world did I get there? And all I can only say is because I stay connected to the source. Amen. 1 John 4, verse 4 emphasizes the end. It says, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. The more that you're connected to the up, the more your end will start to develop. The more that God will start to develop in you, mold you, shape you for a purpose and for a reason. If you don't know the up, then let me tell you, your end will be all messed up. Would you say amen? Now here's the problem. And I'm going to throw it out there because a lot of us are also good at the up and the in, but we no good at the out. So what I say is this, some of us are spiritually constipated to where we take all our blessings and we need a spiritual laxative for us to let it out. Would you say amen? Now this is the most important part of these 3 words, because it's the up and the in and the out that makes the most effect. And the out is this concept here is because Jimbo and anybody here who's seeking to improve your status in your life, the higher you get in this world, the longer the line you see of people willing to do the great things. People who are willing to do the popular things. People who are willing to do the things that'll give them prestige, status, popularity. There is a long line of people ready to do all those things. But let me tell you, there's a really short line for those who are willing to do the little things. And I want to emphasize this is because Jesus Christ specialized in the little things. Jesus Christ, as you go through the gospel, you will find that he specializes in all the little things. Jesus liked to hang out with sinners, socially marginalized, tax collectors. He did the little things like hanging out with little kids. Would you say amen? He did the little things like feeding the hungry and healing the sick. And what I want to base this out on is this. It's called the basin theology. The basin theology is this. In the Gospels, you will find 2 stories that mentions the basin. And one of these stories is when Jesus Christ was standing in front of Pilate. And Pilate was asking him all sorts of questions. And Jesus had every opportunity to reveal his innocence to him. He had every opportunity to say, hey, I'm free from all these accusations Christ did not say one thing. So Pilate asks for a basin of water, and he takes this basin of water and he washes his hands with it. And this symbolism of washing your hands is what a lot of us get when we achieve higher education. Is we wash our hands and we say, all right, that's it. I'm done with this. Or we get into the world and we have this wash our hands of everything else. We kind of forget where we come from. And this idea of Pilate is this type of service that some people have. They wash their hands and says, this is not for me. Now, the other story about the basin is Jesus, who was sitting in the upper room with his disciples. And at this time, he asks for a basin of water. But this basin of water wasn't to wash his hands. But Christ took this basin of water and he got on his knees and he washed his disciples' feet. He washed his disciples' feet as an act of not only humility, but service. And my prayer and my encouragement is this, is that the higher that you get in life, the lower that you will serve. The more names you add to the end of your name, the more letters you add, the higher you go, the lower you will serve. Jesus was always in the will of God. And I pray that, Jimbo, as you move forward in your next journey, that you will also be in the will of God. And there's three things about the will of God that you will discover. And the first thing is this, is when you find the will of God, that'll be your greatest discovery. And when you find God in the up, you will get to know God in the end. And when you know God's will, that'll be your greatest knowledge. But to do God's will, Jimbo, will be your greatest accomplishments. My prayer is that each of us will take the opportunity today to remember to do the small things, because through the smaller things make the greatest impact. Jimbo, I'm proud of you. May God continue to bless you and be with you. Amen.